What's up, everybody? I'm SiTube, and today we're going to be doing a Portal 2 authoring tools tutorial. So the first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be making ourselves a chamber, but we're going to first be learning about the basics on how to use the hammer. So basically, once you've opened up Hammer, you should have a little window like this. You want to click Hammer World Editor. You want to just minus that, and then you're gonna see the screen, hopefully at least. If you have anything missing, you might have to find another tutorial for that. So basically, when you're in this home screen, start making your levels. You gotta click File, then New, and you're in. So in case your screen doesn't look like mine, hover your mouse over these black squares and do Control A. That didn't do anything for me, but let's say for an example, my screen was like this, probably yours as well. What I do is Control A and it reverts back to normal. So boom. I'm going to explain now these four squares, what they do, and how to use them. So first of all, we got this one. This is the 3D square. You can kind of see over here, it says texture shaded when I hover over here. Front, right, top, see? So this is texture shaded. That's a preset I set for the 3D view. You press Z or Z, whatever you want to call it, and then you can move your camera around. Now, right now, you can't really see it moving around because there's nothing there. But I promise you that you hover your mouse around. Oh yeah, and by the way, to exit out, you press Z again. So yeah, that's basically what this is. Press Z, move your mouse around to move camera. WASD as well. Oh, there you go. So you see, WASD moving around, basically like a Portal game. And that's how you move that around. You get yourself the yeah, okay, that's Y. This is X, and that's Z. Yeah. Alright, so green is Z, Y is blue, and red is X, I suppose, in this case. And yeah, those are your three cardinal directions, I think. So let's start with actually building it. You can't really build anything in here. You have to use these squares. So what this one is, this is the top square. You're probably going to use this the most when creating your test chambers. This is the front view, YZ front. Basically, so for here, you're basically going to be viewing it, like this, I think. We're gonna have to experiment later on, but I'm pretty sure it's like this. For this one, this is Y and Z, and since this is Z, that's Y, that means you're facing it like this. And then this one is side X and Z, so might be like this. Once again, I forget how they look, but I'm pretty sure it's like that. So next thing we want to learn is, so like we already figure out which angles these are viewing. So next thing we want to learn is how to toggle grid size. Now you might be thinking, what does that do? I'm getting ahead of myself, but this is important to know. So right here, we have ourselves grids. And then if you were to like needing to build a smaller square instead of, how small this is, what you would do is you see larger grid, smaller grid, so you either click this to make it smaller, and it's going to get smaller in every place, doesn't matter where you look, or you click this to make it larger, so. And another way to do that is you click well, it says here, but I don't know how to call them. Right bracket and left bracket key. Right bracket to make it a larger grid size, as you can see. Left bracket to make a smaller grid size, and you can go as small to 1, but you'd primarily use 16, 32, and 64 for building chambers. Alright, now that we've gotten that out of the way, well, let's begin with these things. So, first we're going to be talking about this one. It's a white block. Go to shadow right there. It's block tool. You're going to click Shift B to enable it. You can see the blue outline around it. Or you just click here. I'd recommend clicking there. So what this does is you can now move on to these these grids. I'd recommend top X, Y. And just for reference, I'm going to move these across here so you can see them. Got it? Alright, so what you want to do now is drag, click, and wherever you want, and then let go. And in the 3D view is create a little outline of what that looks like. So what you'd want to now do, still in the block tool, you didn't exit out or anything, you'd want to click enter, and that creates your block in the 3D view, and in the 2D view as well, although it is kind of hard to see it like that sometimes. Alright, so you got yourself a block, but it looks kind of green, doesn't it? You want to change it to your normal white tile. So what you want to do, you want to head over here. See, this is the texture section. You want to click browse. It opens up all these textures. So what you want to do is you want to go down to the filter. Yeah, filter, and you want to click. You want to put in white. And for like other section, they called for like different themes. You'd be doing, for example, underground, which gives you all the old aperture stuff, or overgrown maybe. No, okay. Just do white and black for normal textures. You usually use like some of these for like overgrown, but we're just doing a normal chamber. So let's select this one. And what we do now is select it with our selecting tool. Remember, if you want to select something, make sure your selecting tool is on. Otherwise, if you try selecting with your block tool, it won't work. Selecting tool out, we click here, and then we click this. This brick looking thing is a texture, not a texture toggle, but like you click it and it applies your texture on all sides. Remember that, all sides. Alright, so basically, we now have ourselves, a floor texture on our block, so we can begin making some test chambers. Let's say though we don't have anything like special going on. We don't have to go down. It's just this floor. What we'd want to do is we want to click this tool, toggle texture application, and we'd want to go to browse and put in no clip. Oh, sorry, no, not no clip, no draw. All right, and now it should appear like this. If you're selecting something and you did that, it's gonna immediately exit out and go back to the texture you're selecting. So make sure you select nothing, and then you go into this mode. So once you have no draw, just simply right click. Remember, right click on the sides that you don't want to be seen. Otherwise, if you left click, it's gonna select that texture. So you left click on the no draw, and then just right click on the sides you don't want. And no draw basically means you won't be able to see anything, like literally nothing. It's gonna look like your game's breaking if you look at this block, or that specific side of the block. So I guess that helps with like loading times and stuff like that. And let's move on. Let's go. Let's make ourselves some walls. So what I'm gonna do, I'm in 64 grid. I made a wall. Now it's we're gonna click enter here just for demonstration purposes. And I'm just gonna change the texture so it's easier to look at. Let's use this. Alright. So as you can kind of see, this wall's kind of looking like a floor at the moment. So what you want to do is you want to click it, and let's scale it. Now, mind you, if you want to start scaling things, you're going to want to have it looking like this. You have 3 here, 3 little dots, and 3 dots here, 2 dots here. If you clicked it on the 2D square and you see these things, this is basically for rotating. You want to make sure that's not selected. So click this again, and then if you see only 4 of these squares, that's not good because that's for like tilting and stuff like that. You don't want that. You want scaling. So like now you see it scales properly. You can use corner. I don't really like using that though. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna scale this up. Maybe 256 units is good. Let me just move this up a bit. Let me just edit this texture. Doesn't look good. Alright, this looks good, yeah. So this right here. And don't forget about your no draw. You don't have to do it. I just do it because, you know, I've seen others do it. I've tried it myself. It's actually making loading the game much simpler and easier. Sorry, not simpler, but faster. Yes. So we have our wall here, right? And now what we have to do is build another wall by doing the exact same process and stuff like that. Now, once you finish scaling your first block or whatever block you scaled last, it's gonna save that scale so you can do it in the so you can replicate it again. But what we can do instead is we can simply copy and paste. Now, I love me some copy and paste That's pretty much how we do all our maps around here. We copy and paste everything. So what we do, no, sorry. You could just do copy and paste, but like Control C, Control V, but that's not really the best way to go around doing that. What you want to do is you want to hold Shift. I'm holding Shift right now. And then you want to use your mouse and just drag it across wherever you want it to land. And boom, you just created a duplicate. And now remember how I told you about rotating? So let's just go into top view, click it twice, and rotate it around so that the white part is facing this now. Alright, so now we have to create ourselves another wall, both here and there. Now what we can do is we can build a wall here and then copy and paste it up here. But then again, like I said, copy and pasting is everything. So what we do, copy and paste that, just rotate it, and then move it down. And boom, we got ourselves a wall. Now, the only reason why we can do this is because we're on a grid, if you can kind of see. If we were on an not off angle, but like if we were off the grid, it wouldn't work like that. But since we're on the grid, it does. Alright, so now we have ourselves a wall, and let's just do the same thing for a roof so that we can start play testing. Alright, that looks better. Alright, so now we have ourselves a room. But if I just click play, that's not really going to do much. Like, sorry. It's just going to probably spawn me at 0, 0, 0, which I assume is right here, although I'm not entirely too sure. Let me just quickly make these a no draw. And, alright. So what we want to do to set a spawn point, if you're not going to have an elevator, that is, but if you're just going to have a spawn point, I'm going to click the entity tool, and you're just going to click anywhere on your 3D screen. Clicking on your 2D screen, it doesn't do anything, and it just confuses me, so make sure to get out of that by clicking the select tool, and click entity tool, and then click here. Yeah, so, not sure anymore about that. We're just gonna have to ignore that. That's why you don't click on the 2D view with an entity tool. Now, if you don't see this green Walter White looking dude, then you probably have yourself an issue with the class of your entity. You see, mine always starts at info player start, but if yours doesn't, settings, where are options? There you go. You go to options, and default point to entity class, you want to just make it info player start. Now, I recommend doing this. Now, if you're on a different client instead of using the Portal 2 authoring tools, you're probably going to see an error or something like that, like if you're using Hammer++. So, but it's still the same thing. It's still going to work the same. So just keep it as info player start. So you got yourselves your player. Now, this doesn't mean you spawn with a portal gun. If you wanted to spawn with a portal gun, just move it over here. Oh, by the way, to move stuff, you just drag around. It's going to snap to the grid. If you don't want it to snap to the grid, you're going to have to click, you don't have to click any, you just have to hold Alt and just move it around. Yeah. If you want it to snap back to the grid, just start moving it again without holding Alt. Alright, so let's say you want to start with a portal gun. So what you want to do, remember, entities are stuff like models, you got yourselves like a light bridges and stuff like that. So your portal gun is going to be an entity tool. So what you want to do is hold shift and drag this entity player start. It's going to be overlapping each other. That's fine. What you want to do is click Alt and Enter for the shortcut to entering the properties. If you don't know what if you don't know the shortcut, then what you can do is just double click onto the entity in the 3D view. But clicking Alt and Enter is a much simpler solution. So what I'm going to do now is just search up in class weapon portal gun. Now, I know you saw right there, you saw paint gun, but that doesn't work. Just trust me on that. You want to do weapon portal gun, and you want to click apply. Make sure you click apply for everything you do. And now you can choose some settings, like for example, starting team, which means like if you're going to be having certain, like for example, let's say you're making a multiplayer map and you wanted to have the orange and blue portal gun in separate rooms. You can do that by, making this, and yeah. But usually for single player, you want to click, it's going to be automatically single player, so make it like that. And then you can choose to show potatoes, which is lattice on your portal gun as a potato. That's usually for like Wheatley chambers, I'd assume, or any chambers, just whatever you want. And then over here, the most important part, can fire portal 2 and 1. These are the most important. Something to remember, portal 1, whenever it says portal 1 or like 1 for textures and stuff like that, 1 is always going to be blue, 2 is going to be orange for stuff that are like with the portals. So we're going to have can fire blue portal, yes. Can fire orange portal, yes, that's fine. So yeah, you got yourselves this. Now, it doesn't matter where you spawn the portal gun as long as it's not outside of a box. Now, let me explain that right now. So, right here in the 3D view and in the 2D, we have a box. It's concealed, and there are no leakages. Leakages, that's a funny word. So, leakages, or leaks, are what Hammer does not like absolutely at all. Basically, what they are is where in the map, there's a small little section where the inside world can see the outside world, which is just an empty black void. And they don't like that. What that's gonna make the game do is gonna make it crash. So Hammer doesn't let you load any games with a leak in it, unless it's from an older version of Hammer, I guess, because I tried doing that and it worked. Hammer's weird. So yeah, you want to make sure there's no leaks in your map. Mine doesn't have any. And then what you want to do is you want to do Control S, or go to File, and then do Save As, or just save. Do Control S. It's going to lead you to this, and just name your map. Just remember, there's no spaces allowed. Use underscore if you want to put spaces; they look better. So for example, we got let's do YouTube chamber. Got ourselves our YouTube chamber. Let's do Control S just again. And I'm going to run the map to show you what it looks like. So I have configurations in normal mode. Let me see normal mode here. Sorry. I'm in advanced mode right now. Yours is going to be in normal mode, which is this. I recommend going to clicking the expert, leading you here. So what you want to do here is you can do default fast, full compile HDR. Recommend you do that. Basically, whatever you see in the full compile is what's going to be in the game. Fast compile is probably going to miss out on some shaders and stuff. Default, probably it's going to gather them all, but it's not going to be your best looking. LDR doesn't really matter, so what you want to do is full compile HDR. If you're having a really big map and you just want to test it quickly, do fast mode. But if you're going to be doing like final testings and stuff like that, do full compile. So, click go. And now, as you can see, it's going to open up this. If there's something red, that means there's a leak. I think it's probably really loud. I'm going to have to edit that out later. Probably not, actually. Alright, so as you can see, our map is run properly. We have the same thing, and let me show you what it looks like if we go outside. I pressed V to fly. That's because I have that set as the... Also, because I'm on developer mode for making levels. So I press V. If you don't have that, you probably have to make a keybind for that. So what you want to do, you want to go click escape, and you should have your console activated. If you don't, you want to go to options, and then keyboard and mouse, and then allow developer console. Make sure that's set to enable. So now you want to click the squiggly key that's underneath your escape, and it's going to open up the console. What you want to do now is you want to do, for an example, oops, sorry. For some reason, I have to click O in order to keep text on. So you want to do bind toggle, it's better, and do V, and then no clip, just like that. Just how I typed it in, and then you should be able to do. You should be able to no clip. If you can't, then something else you have to do is you have to make sure your SV cheats are on. So let's just do another bind. So you're gonna do bind toggle. I usually do I. You can choose any key, but let's do I, and then SV cheats 1, just like that. You have yourself SV cheats 1, or you can just type in SV cheats 1, just like that. And now, as you can see, I'm flying around. and I can see the inside because there's a no draw around that. Now, if there was a no draw inside this box, it would do as I said, it would probably make your game look like it's crashed or something. Not entirely too sure why it's not doing it here. I guess I'll just have to find out later. But you see we got our portal gun, and we can shoot it. Just like normal. And yeah, so let's just exit to main menu. Click your main menu if you want to test again after editing something, because it will not let you run 2 instances of portal at the same time. So you've done that. Now let's say there's a leakage in your map. What you want to do is this. I'm sorry, you don't want to make a leak, but I'm doing this. So you see there's a leak in your map, and then what you want to do is sorry. You don't know there's a leak in your map, but there is in here. So I click Control Save for saving it. So basically, sorry, that was a bit cut for me. So basically, what I'm gonna do, I saved it with the leak in my map, and I click Run Map, and then I do Go. As you can see, it's gonna give me an error. Couldn't load it because there's a leak in your map. So what you want to do is you want to go to Tools and Map. Sorry. You want to go to Map, then Load Point File. Click Yes, and it's gonna give you a red line showing where your leak is. It should be that specific corner right over here. So basically, it's going to be showing you right where it is, and it's going to be pointing towards your player model. I guess that does it for me. I'm not sure if it does it for you, but yeah, that's how you know there's a leak in your map, and all you have to do is cover it up. Because remember, the best way to fix your mistakes is to cover it up. So the next thing you want to do is just do map and then unload point file, and that's gone. So boom, you understood the basics of Hammer. I'm gonna teach you how to make a few basic stuff like buttons and floor buttons and a dropper. I won't be explaining how I make the dropper though, because that's gonna be too long. I'm gonna explain that in a different episode if you guys like this. So this is gonna be just the basics. So what I'm gonna do again, because buttons and stuff like that, they're all entities. We're gonna move this to the middle. Remember, Alt Enter, and we're going to do floor button. And now you got yourselves a button. Looks pretty cool, huh? Now remember, oh, sorry, it's not here. It's probably somewhere else, but there's going to be skin 1, which is the blue one. It's not in use, but then there's going to be skin 2, where it's orange, and it's showing you that it works. So remember, portal 1, portal 2, skin color. So we got over here, and now let's just move the button, I guess, over here. And button is actually just called prop button. You see, you got skin over here. That's for something else. Like it's not necessarily for like blue or orange, but this is for like if you want it to be clean or rusted for overgrown levels and stuff like that. Play timer sound is like the clock sound or whatever. Prevent fast resets. That's for like some special stuff if you want to do with buttons. And delay before reset is for like the timer, stuff like that. Oh, sorry, no, not timer. How many seconds before you can press the button again once it's been pressed. The output section is where you're going to be doing most of your coding. And if you're about to click the exit button after I said coding, don't, because this coding is actually really simple, and all it did was took me at least a day to understand it. So basically, for an example, I don't really have much stuff to give an example for, but let me just create a door. So once again, you want to go to the Alt Enter and do prop test chamber door, and then click Enter, and you got yourself your test chamber door. All right, so let's do for an example for this button. Remember, if you're going to be doing an output or code with something, you always have to name it. So we're going to name our door over here Jimmy. Jimmy the door. And you see, Jimmy loves opening his door. But he can't do it unless he's been told to. So we got it here. We're not going to name him. We got Anonymous Fellow. he's going into Jimmy's chat or whatever, and he's telling him that when he presses his button on pressed, Jimmy is going to have to open his door. And it works just like that. And he's also going to say on when he when he when he when the button is unpressed, when it's ready to be pressed again, Jimmy is going to have to close his door. And that's the coding you have to do. Simple as that. So let me just demonstrate that by going into full compile HDR, and let me show you what that does. Alright, so you can see we press the button, orange, just like I said. Dude, why is that so loud? Alright. So it's orange and blue. And then over here, it doesn't really do much. But we click here, it opens the door, and then when the button resets, it closes the door. And that's all the coding. Now, for some stuff that you want to do, like, for example, maybe some specific stuff you want to do with a cube, perhaps, you're going to have to do some scripting, which is the hard type of coding. But if you're going to be doing basic stuff like this most of your time, then, yeah, it's pretty simple to make a Portal 2 level. Alright. Next thing, let's just actually remove the code, because we don't want it to do that. Let me just delete that. Oh, I clicked cancel by accident. Nope, okay. So, now what we want to do, we want to have a cube pressed here to open this door. So, we want to have a cube dropper. What we can do, let's put this on top. Let's just move this a bit higher. We can turn this into a func instance. Now, func instance, I'm not entirely too sure what it does. Hold up. What you can do, what you can do actually is just go to the Valve developer website and search up func instance and see what it means. But basically, what it does is like you can have your VMF used in a func instance, function instance. So whatever is going to be a function in your VMF whatever instance function is in your VMF, you can use it in here. You know what? Just look it up on the Valve. I don't know how to explain it. I just know what it does. So you want to go to, it's going to open up maps when you click the VMF file. You want to go to instances, and this is where everything is stored. You want to do for cube dropper is you want to go to where is it? Test chamber? No, sorry. No, where is it? Come on. Gameplay. There you go. You want to go to gameplay, and this is where most of your stuff is going to be stored. You're going to look for a cube dropper normal. And okay, it should say .vmf, and that's what you're looking for. It's gonna just crash your computer for a second or two, but that's fine. And then you got yourself this. This, my friends, is the cube dropper. So, it doesn't really. It's pretty big actually, so you can't really fit that in there. So what you would do is, yeah, you have it like this. I'm just gonna speed this part out, so I don't have to show you this just yet. Let me just make this a bit easier for me to do though. Alright, not the best way of designing yourself a cube dropper. Yeah, but you'll have to do for now. So remember, whenever you're gonna be doing something with an output, you always have to have a name. So fix up name, we're gonna call this Johnny. So what we're gonna do is this button, when he's gonna tell, sorry, when he's pressed, Johnny here is going to trigger, and basically what this trigger is, it's gonna trigger the cube drop. So when you press this button, Johnny is gonna drop a cube. See that cube? He's gonna drop it all the way down here and onto this button. So what we want to do now is for this button, we go to the output section. When we do, we go here and we do on pressed. Jimmy, and he's gonna open his door. Side note, if you're typing, we're gonna have to add another one. If you're typing though, and you want to move outside your screen. It's going to stop typing. So you want to always have your mouse in this screen when you're typing. So on unpressed, which is when the button is not being pressed, we're going to have Jimmy here. We're going to have him close his door. We're going to have him close his Yap. That should be the most basics. Sorry, that should be the basics. Let's just run it and test it out. Oh, it's a bit dark here. That's because this BMF has some light instances inside of it. That's fine though. We can fix that another day. Actually, it gives a pretty cool effect if I'm being honest. Too dark though. So, as we can see, when we press it, it opens the door, and when we unpress it, it closes the door. When we click this, pressed it right onto the button, and boom. So, yeah, that's basically how it works. You just learned the very basics of Hammer. Make sure to leave a like and comment in the description. Comment down in the comments what you think the next episode should be. If I missed out on any issues or something that might be happening during your Hammer session, let me know in the comments, and I'll respond to you with a fix or some solution that I can find. So, with all that, thanks for watching.